Corked Stats, powered by the Mayo Media Net here on YouTube and presented by Jock MKT. Download the daily fantasy app for free. Use the promo code MMN. They're going to match the first $100 for free, and if it's free, it's for me. All right, everyone, we are down under a dozen episodes left of this wonderful thing of ours here at Corked Stats. Baby, rate, review, and subscribe to the audio-only pod if you want to say thanks for all the work we've been doing and all the excellent tools and information that Patty Mayo and myself have been doing our best to bring to you. 5-star review really is the best way. My name up in the comments is the way to get me, back here next year. Listen, man, we were able to work together as a community to get this picked up into football. That's what it's all about. I've been trying to explain to everyone out there, I don't want your money, we just want your interaction, because this kind of work is infectious, man. The kind of energy that we're bringing is just contagious, because we're covering baseball like we are covering football, like the rest of the people should be covering baseball. Those stuffed shirts, forget about them. We want more of this. It's the fastest show in MLB, absolutely anywhere, bringing you those 3 pillars of profit, doing daily DFS, jock market, total base props, over to fantasy. Today's the waiver show, then we do Friday, then we do some bets, and tomorrow, we're doing the look ahead. It's just been so wonderful. And again, rate, review, and subscribe. But I'm not going to ask you for the like button just yet, because I want to earn it first. I really like to think that we go out there and do just that every day. Remember, death and taxes, sun rising in the east, setting in the west, bears making dookie in the woods, and the big dude up before the crack of dawn to bring you this show, man, because it means that much to me. Let's get up. It's the 18 stack attack. We're going to run it back. Stay in the black. We are hot to death, man. Let's get with those Yankees just really quick. My gosh, Twitter is so ridiculous. Yankee fans, baseball fans, sport fans, and just in general are ridiculous. Yes, they're in a bit of a downslide. So what? That's a good thing. I was on a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN. Check out those spots on Wednesday morning. Me and him have a lot of fun. I listen, they joked on me because they asked me if I was worried. I said it's no, just the opposite, but I meant it. It's not like, I know they joked on me. Like I said, they're getting the losses out of the way, but it's true to an extent. We know that teams and players perform in sine waves. No one is always great. No one is always terrible. The Pirates swept the Dodgers. The Reds swept the Dodgers. These things happen. And we know teams go through cold streaks. It is what it is. Yankees lost Stanton injury, and then, LeMahieu went down with the foot. He misses a week. Before you know it, a couple guys go cold, and all of a sudden you're not scoring, and you look terrible for a week. And guess what happened? They came back yesterday and won, because the Yankees are really good, and I always feel kind of dirty apologizing for the Yankees, because that's not the kind of Yankee fan I am. I'm more pessimistic than anything. But realistically speaking, we should never be overreacting to really good teams that are in a bit of a downslide. I was asked the same thing about the Dodgers when they were losing, and the answer is no. You're back. Really great teams that are good in 3 phases of the games. Still, that Yankee Jordan Montgomery move was flat out stupid. See, listen, man, I don't like him that much that I'm going to lie about him. Let's get with the Yankees. That's the first stack. It's his honor up against Joe Berry's 5.61 ERA, 1.4 WHIP, 8.25 OPS on the season, but the FIP, Sierra, and deserved ERA all north of 5. The control has not been bad. 6% walk is pretty good. However, 9% swing strike rate is a problem. And then when you kind of get deeper into these disciplinary metrics, I think you're going to see what I mean, right? So the first strike rate is actually through the roof. 63% first strike is excellent. But the foul ball rate is elevated, up above 19. Anytime you're seeing that, you think about that. 1/5 of the pitches being wasted to fouls. It means you're not winning in the zone or on the edges or both. So what ends up happening, I think we see that materialize then in the 90% in-zone contact rate from Berrios. Really not what you'd expect. We're expecting a bit more strikeouts. I think the K rate's at 19.5 on the season. Not any good. So you see the in-zone contact rate, right? So I'm showing you, it's a lot of numbers, but I'm showing you how we end up in the zone with the pitcher with the low walk rate like that. And then when you get it, he's getting lifted a ton. 40% fly ball, 45 hard hit, and 11 barrel equals the 442 expected WOBA on contact and almost 2 home runs per 9 we've seen. Remember, you can't just use XCon. You can't just use expected WOBA on contact. You have to get there first, right? So you really need to find the in-zone contact rate up above 88, 89, 90. Let's say anything above 90. You could go for contact metrics. Guys are going to see it, especially when you have good hitters. He's non-discriminately bad this year. Righties and lefties have a 274 minimum BA, but lefties doing a bit more of the power work there with the 540 slug. I was checking out the split fly ball work. Hat tip to my dude Joke was talking about that. Listen, man, I don't pretend to know everything, and sometimes I have blind spots, and that is something really good. You want to be looking at split lift, let's call it split elevation, really good. The lefties have a significantly higher fly ball rate at 44, opposed to 37. But 37 variety is not bad. You can still look for power, but it is a bit different. What's the problem? Generally, these things are at the bad fastballs are at the center of this stuff, and that's what we're getting from Berrios. He's really struggling with the fastball, 30% use, 612 X-lug, poor location there, and the sinker, 24 use, 520 X-lug. He's having trouble keeping that bad boy down. Well, the Yankees can hit. Give me the Judge. Last 14 days, 281, 1040, triple slash, remember that's BA, ISO, and OPS. We use ISO to identify the strong total base prop guys because OPS includes walk rate, and that will hurt you. Walks don't count for total bases. See Juan Soto, right? Anytime you run out Juan Soto for a total base prop, there's a chance he'll be on base 4 times, and you won't even get a single base out of the guy. So definitely that matters, but we also like to look at here on the show is the individualized arsenal, right? So we mentioned Berrios, the fastball's at 30, used to sinker at 24. So put them together, what do you got besides a bibbity-bobbity boop? 55% use of bad fastball. So we could be looking for fastball hitters. So Judge against those right-handed four-seamers and sinkers on the year. 83 contact, 31 barrel, 21 blast. That's a 540 xWOBA and 22 home runs. Just cartoonish numbers against the pitcher we know Berrios is going to be throwing at him. So give me the Judge to get up off the mat. I mean, it's funny. His split, that 281 triple slash, I should say, is cold for him, right? 281, 28% extra base hit rate over 14 days is cold for Judge. So expect him to get going today. He's a good pop for a home run. Also, we'll look at Rizzo, talk about cold, but he lit up that pitch leaderboard. So when I was looking at the fastball and the sinkers from righties year to date, 85 contact, 50 hard hit, 14 barrel, 10% blast, and 11 home runs. Remember, Rizzo, lefty, checks the boxes with those extra fly balls. He's a good example of a hitter that you just do not want to play for a single prop. They shift against him. You're not getting a single. It's really hard to get a double even. He's got a better chance at a double, but a dribbler at third base than he does hitting a ball hard into the gap. So keep that stuff in mind. Rizzo is probably a home run guy, and a good stack play. So let's use Rizzo today as our example of how to identify a player, but then he doesn't necessarily fit on all boards, right? Again, I am the one-man band. There's DFS players, we have daily players, we have prop players, we have jock market players. So let's do it one by one. DraftKings, DFS, FanDuel. Remember, the prices do not move. Prices are stagnant, which means they are resistant to demand, which means what? You can identify a high cost and have it be great. You can identify a low cost player and have it hurt you because people are going to pile in and it won't change the cost, which creates those free squares, which create leverage issues, right? OPS matters. Awesome in DraftKings DFS play. You just want bases, you get points for runs and scoring, be inside of good stacks. Look for clusters. Jock market, listen, projections matter, but this whole slate matters. You're being compared against the slate on an individualized basis. So the things we do know is you get a half point for a plate appearance, and cost matters because there's inherent leverage. Low cost players means there's no demand. So that is the thing with Jock market. Guys on this model that are cheap and in the top third in particular on the road, I should say, because we don't want to lose the ninth frame. That's something I don't think people talk about enough. You don't want to lose the ninth frame. You want the ninth frame. I know people think guys hit better at home, but unless you really have a truly high implied team total, it's hard to make up for that. Then knowing pretty much, look at the line. If it's minus 250, you're home. Don't expect to hit in the ninth inning. That's just how it goes. That's just math. So again, nuance and context at the center of it. And I think not just knowing how to pick the name, but where to put it matters the most, because I do get a lot of that. Are all these people viable for total base props? I think the answer is no. I think in a vacuum, I guess they're all viable for a single. I mean, you can't do any damage without getting a hit, but then you have to start to weigh the cost, right? I mean, if the chance of Rizzo's hit are so be an extra base hit, it doesn't make sense to play the single base. So boom, if that wasn't a good enough lesson for daily play, and that doesn't earn a cartoon finger, I don't know what will. One more name, Josh Donaldson, the Rainmaker, also butters his bread against fastballs from righties and the sinkers as well. Last 30 days, he's starting to get it going. 23 barrel, 14 blast. Remember, blast are the ideal subset of barrels, the Cadillac of barrels. So he's starting to wake up. He hit that big grand slam yesterday. Get with Donaldson. He could be a sine wave. Monster top end sine wave coming for Josh Donaldson, like league winning potential coming for Josh Donaldson. People are so willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I feel like you just got all that yuck out of the way, and if he's hitting home runs, he's probably healthy. He feels good, and if he's hitting home runs, it means what? His timing is probably in place. The two things that matter the most, way more than L7 data, whatever that is good for. So give me the Yankees. I think they're going to do some work against road berries. If you'll notice, all these are nighttime plays. I know with Mayo, we get a lot of daily play, drafting play, jock market play. So I'm trying to keep those to the nighttime. I did run the algo for all the DJs. If you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, because I know we have new listeners, welcome aboard. Thank you so much for listening and stuff, but it's all the tools. It's a pitching sheet every day, implied team totals. We run the algo. I do my best to rate and grade all the top players, but if not, we put these sheets out. You can check them out on Twitter as well. I mean, we're just trying to do it all, and if you appreciate it, thank Pat Mayo somewhere on social media. All right, let's go to the next one. It's the Royales with cheese. This one has a caveat. You'll see it on the screen for the video people, but audio-only listeners. This must be Luis Patino. Shane McClanahan is listed. I don't think you're going to get him today. I saw Patino locked in on the MLB app. That, as far as my work goes, and I do this every single day, is the strictest, right? They have no problem putting TBD. That's the problem with a lot of probable starter shows is in sites, and I get it. They're inferring, I get it. I'm not trying to knock them, but they will guess. And they openly guess, and that could mislead you. I'd rather have a blank spot until it's confirmed, because again, I run this sheet and run all this data. It's pointless if you get it wrong. So I know McClanahan's in there, but MLB had it done, and then to go one step further, that game is not on the board. So I have a feeling it will be Patino. Expect that going forward. Maybe McClanahan getting the extra day of rest. Being young and trying to make sure he gets to the finish line. And probably a smart way to do it. That's fine by me. So make sure it's Patino. Now let's get into it. Royals versus Patino today, who I really do think we'll be seeing. 6.75 ERA, 2 WHIP, 1,012 OPS on the year, but it's only 8 innings. Can't really worry about that so much. On the career, 4.65 ERA, 1.42 WHIP, 10% walk, 10% swing strike, 50 fly ball, 8 barrel, and 1.5 home runs per 9. All the kind of stuff we're looking for, but this year it's really been kind of a disaster. The home run rate is at 2.25 this year. He's really struggling spotting to righties. Right-handed hitters on the year have a 4.65 batting average and 6 extra base hits in 17 total batters faced. So there's something broken. There's usually an issue when things have gone that awry. The fastball is at 95 miles an hour, which we like, but again, the hyper usage, 43% use, allows hitters to sit back on it. I dove in a touch more because there's one thing on a diagnostics, again, something that you just don't get anywhere else. So remember, ride and run, the two dimensions, right? Fastball has velocity, but it also moves, right? So we're looking for these things. But on a four-seamer, we want a less vertical ride as possible. Average is probably about a foot, right? That's just the natural amount. It's going to fall, gravity pushing it down as it's traveling from the arm to the plate. So pitchers that are able to keep that ball up, those are your rising fastballs. And then again, you want as much tail as possible so a hitter can't, kind of center in on it, doesn't stay where you want. That is the main issue with Patino, and something to remember why velocity is not everything. So he does have a pretty good vertical movement profile, but the horizontal profile is so poor, down at 5 inches, that is incredibly low. And then with poor location, we could look for fastball hunters. So the two best fastball hitters on the Royals team, give me Sal Perez versus four-seamers from righties. Year to date, 70 contact, 60 hard hit at 95 miles an hour, 15% barrel, 13% blast. So most of the contact is the purest contact, and 5 home runs. And then Hunter Dozier, he missed the last 3 days, but it was the paternity leave. So I think you get 3 days. I think he should be back, and I know how I feel after that. Forget, even if it's, yes, the joy of a new child is unmatched. If they're healthy, that is all that matters. The weight off your chest, knowing that everything else can wait. When you know that, especially when you get down to the very end, all the work, all the love, all the passion, all the time, all the stress and everything that goes into it, everything on the line. So I expect him to come back, feeling light as air. Look for him to do work with the new Bambino in the crew. Dozier against four seamers from righties on the year. 86 contact, extremely high. That's what we're going to be looking for, right? He's offering and he's doing the work. 50 hard hit, 17 barrel, nearly 10% blast, a 400 ex-Woba, and 6 home runs. So I think Sal Perez and Hunter Dozier, if Patino is starting, and that's another one too. We're going to tease this if you're know about my new favorite bet on the board. Love the Royals, F5, 1.5. If it's Patino, gonna have to be looking for that. It's not on the board, so I couldn't post it because, again, I am not a fraud. Do my best not to be. Let's get into the last stack. It's the Padres from the perfect weather in San Diego up against Anibal Sanchez. Yes, he's still in the big leagues. 7.20 ERA, 1.6 WHIP, 9.29 OPS is totally a joke. Deserved ERA north of 6. FIP north of 7. Your FIP is higher than his K minus walk. It's just ridiculous. 6% K minus walk, 23% CSW. He doesn't get cold strikes. He doesn't get whiffs. He doesn't even get ahead. The first strike rate down below 50 and the in-zone contact rate up around 90, right? His explanation to get to the power stats for Sanchez is very simple. He doesn't know how to throw strikes. He doesn't throw strikes. He doesn't fool anybody. And then he has to force the ball in the zone where we get 46 fly ball, 41 hard hit, and 6% blast. That's the major issue. Anytime the blast rate over 5, you can almost forget the barrel rate if the blast rate's over 5. Those are major misses. Been nearly 3 home runs per 9 year to date. Righties have a 357 BA and over 1100 OPS. It's just ridiculous. Now, this might be the worst fastball in the game. His four-seamer down at 90 miles an hour. So right off the bat, 90 is where we start to check. It doesn't matter what the movement profile is for 90. Although at 90, I don't know why you're throwing a four-seamer. You'd think you'd be looking for something with a bit more movement. I just don't understand. I don't know. It's just there's no explaining any of this. Nationals, I'm available for hire, dude. This is ridiculous. All right, so the vertical movement on the fastball is terrible. It's 17 inches, just way beyond where you want to be. 30 to 40% worse than average, and the horizontal movement at 3 inches, just 80% worse than where you want to be. It's really terrible. He's also throwing a cutter, which is trash. 20 use, 465 X slug. So you put them together, and you end up with again nearly 50% of the arsenal coming in as bad fastball. So let's look at Manny Machado. Last 2 weeks, 55 plate appearances, 56 hard hit, 17 barrel. The triple slash is broken. 538, 436, 1546, 3 home runs and 8 doubles. I mean, that is just absurd. One of the most ridiculous extra base stretches you're going to see as far as this game goes, man. And I don't think Machado gets the love he deserves. Always playing so late. Give me Ha-Seong Kim. Last 2 weeks, 31 plate appearances against righties, 40 hard hit, 345, 241, 973 with 7 doubles. So again, he's pretty viable. I think the lineup placement might hurt him for a total base prop, right? And they're going to be at home, and they're going to be big favorites. You can see how when I get a couple indicators, I'm like, I bet you the price is pretty good on Kim. I just didn't even go look. I didn't want to be tempted. And then Will Myers, he's off the IL. We haven't seen a lot from him, but he looks really good. And again, unlike pitchers, right? I want to clarify this because we attack pitchers habitually coming off of the IL. Hitters can come off the IL and start producing, right? If they look good and feel good and timing's right, we don't know how much many swings to be taking. The guy's may have been solely focusing on that for a while. He's looked really good. That's what I am looking for. Off the IL, I want production. Once I see it and I know the health and the timing are there, all wheels up. For Will Myers, since he showed up, he's had 11 plate appearances against righties, whatever, but he's 5 for 11 with 3 doubles. So again, he has a really good chance of sneaking into that forgotten territory in jock market. Again, always want to find those cheap players. That is the nut hand. You can have a player hit a home run and not make money in jock market. I think that's the most important thing about the price. Whereas in DraftKings, we mentioned prices are capped. A home run pays the bills. The most expensive player, if he hits a home run, you got what you wanted. Not to be said for jock market. Whereas a guy, it's just crazy. Let's say you get a ton of plate appearances, 6 plate appearances, and you don't strike out, and you get 3 points, and let's say you walked, maybe even or whatever, and you scored a run here or there, and you end up with a handful of points. If the play was cheap enough, you could double or triple your money, which is not something you could think of, right? And if you double and triple on one player, that could float the whole portfolio. So, again, a little bit more nuance and context and all the things that we do, not taking our foot off the gas with only 11 episodes to go. Oh, my goodness, I just can't believe it. All right, that's the first pillar of profit, everyone. All righty, let's get up into The fantasy end, I'm not going to kill you with all the details. We're looking for names of players that are producing and at the very least having playing time. That is something I do make sure to check. Tuesday and Wednesday we run the advanced statistical leaderboard, putting together for this Thursday show. I think this graphic is extremely useful. Video people, swipe right before you do, press the like button. Audio only people, jump over to YouTube, swipe right before you do, press the like button. Well, kidding aside, I do put this on Twitter so you can have the clean image without me yammering over it. Extremely helpful to have that kind of reference point. You'll notice 3 players at every position. In theory, these are 10, 12, and 15 team ads. You'll notice a cluster for pitching because cluster F is the word for pitching this year. It's really tough to even tell the difference between a 12 and 15 team waiver wire. So let's get up into it. Behind the plate, Shea Langolier is going to be the hot addict. Catcher looking awesome. Going to play every day. Top of the lineup for Oakland. PJ Higgins, not just playing catcher, but also playing first base for the Cubs. Also something we always circle. Anytime you could squeeze some extra at bats, and he's got some stick. And then Nick Fortes for Miami. I love this guy. I've been playing him in all my 15-team leagues, hitting home runs, stealing bases. Doesn't play every day, but not every catcher does. If you're getting quality and roto categories, you run with Nick Fortes and figure out the rest later. Over to first base, Jay Meneses, playing for Washington every day since the call. He's been very good. Top of the lineup again to Derek Hall for Philadelphia. They're hitting sine wave now. Stott and Hall starting to get it together for the Phils. They get Harper back. You can see that offense just completely take off. Schwarber as well. Derek Hall has been playing every day, batting cleanup for the Phillies. He's been a pretty good kind of total base play, daily play as well. To Lamont Wade playing first and outfield for the Giants. Now he's a platoon player, surprise with the Giants, but it is the right-handed side, and he's playing every day against righties and leading off. So I think if you're going to be a platoon player, but you are leading off, I think that's enough to tip the scales in 15-team leagues. Only get with Lamont Wade. Over to second base, Vaughn Grissom, a superstar for the Braves. I think the only thing there is when Albies comes back and he's close, what will happen? The Braves are just so good right now, man. They are ridiculous. Soroka on deck as well. We'll get to that in a little bit. CJ Abrams, a bit disappointing for the Padres, but you don't get every touch of run for Washington. Change of scenery. Who knows? I mean, you just don't know. Opportunity could be something. I wouldn't be looking to start him, though, yet. But with Garcia is the name I was looking for on it, IL, and I don't know the length. Abrams should get a run. Second base and shortstop gives you the flexibility, so it's something there, but I'm not rushing yet. I, to be honest, would probably rather have the third guy on the list, Kevin Newman, leading off basically every day for the Pirates. You're not going to get a ton, but you get average and you get some runs, in the time being. Over to shortstop, Paul DeJong. You just found his stroke. Looking awesome for the Cardinals, playing every day. We thought he was done for. Bryson Stott, who I mentioned, covering both middle infield positions for the Phillies, playing every day. He's starting to look good as well. He's kind of been a fringe player, but I've worked him in, had him on benches, and, added him cheap throughout the year. You're getting little bits of here and there, and then again, Kevin Newman, a guy that I like to have in 15-team leagues, particularly NFBC, when you get to change your lineup on Friday, the bi-weekly lineup adjustments. Having that flexibility and a guy that plays every day doesn't hurt. Third base, Beatty. For the Mets, he hit a bomb or two where he looks good. I don't generally chase these guys, and sometimes it does hurt me. I feel like the majority of times it doesn't, but it's out there, and people will be pushing it, so I got to put him on the list. I always worry about playing time for the Mets in general. I guess third base, there's somewhat of an opening. I guess that's like the one spot, but we just don't know. I'm not banking on playing time for the Mets. Then Montero, third base for Colorado. I'd probably rather go there. Half your games in cores, and he's playing every day without any competition for playing time. To Emmanuel Rivera, looking really good for the Diamondbacks since that trade. He's looked excellent, so definitely a guy you can get with. He's still available on 15-team waiver wires. Let's get into the outfield. It's Lars Nootbaar, Robbie Grossman, Franmil Reyes. That's the left side. Those are probably your smaller leagues, playing every day, starting to produce. Grossman, I think, is pushing Ozuna into the the background. Reyes, get with Franmil. I hope you added him when I mentioned him last week. He looks excellent. Change of scenery. We know there's a stick there. We know the stick there. If anybody could even correct the strikeouts a little bit, he's never going to strike out less than 20%. But if you get the number into 33, the guy could definitely move the needle for you in Roto, where you don't get punished for those strikeouts necessarily. Over to the deeper league, outfielders are Christian Arroyo, Lamont Wade, and Kerry Carpenter. My choice would probably be Carpenter. On Detroit, again, no competition. He's playing every day. I think he's batting cleanup since the call-up, and he has a couple of ding-dongs. Lamont Wade, you're going to be stuck in a platoon. He's not ever going to be a full-time player. But in right-handed half weeks and weeks, is certainly times going to be viable. Absolutely. One of the guys I may be getting away from, I've been using G-Man Choi in that spot, but he's been kind of duty. Lamont Wade, is the same idea. You know, a player that get you a vast majority, you keep on the bench in the first spot, and then Christian Arroyo playing every day for the Red Sox. Second base and outfield eligibility, again, a little bit of flexibility. Pitchers. Oh my goodness, they are really tough. So make sure you have Mike Soroka circled. He should be coming back soon. I know people have forgotten about him, and sometimes they're just sitting out there. To Braxton Garrett, Ranger Suarez, Justin Steele, all guys we mentioned on the show 2 days ago, right? When we're minding the leaderboard, these are the names that are popping up. Then you start to check it, some of the diagnostics, and we're getting a good run there. Keep an eye on Suarez in particular. He looks like the best version of himself. Same for Justin Steele, Jose Suarez for the Angels, JP Sears for Oakland to wrap up the starters. Suarez has been really good. Tough context in LA with the Angels' 6-man rotation and the poor offense. But Trout coming back. When they have Trout plus Ohtani, you have to pitch to Ohtani, and then they're really good. We've seen how 2 players can kind of, carry that team. A couple relievers, keep an eye on the roll. There's Chapman with Holmes down for the Yankees. I know Chapman's been a roller coaster ride, but we also know just topside there, and saves are generally about opportunities. And then Alexi Diaz for the Reds. He looks like he's kind of separated as the wheat from the chaff in the Reds bullpen, though again, you really don't want much to do with the Reds bullpen, but if you need saves, it matters. I mean, quite literally, I this exercise a couple weeks ago landed us Trevino and Strickland, and again, they're laughable. Like, if you had your money still in your roster, it's laughable. But 1 week, I paid $5 and got 3 saves, and it was almost worth the home run Strickland gave up, because those saves push up the standings, so just how it goes. All right, that's the second pillar of profit. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter or in the comments below, no doubt about it. I try and circle back to this if I can on Sunday. I just repost this with maybe new names to add and these names that we might need to subtract. Because again, playing time at the center of it. If, today being Thursday, if a guy sits Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yeah, no thanks. We don't want him. Again, we don't want to have take clock and be married to bad data. With new data, changing information is not flip-flopping. It's called intelligence, right? Okay. Third pillar time. Yes, it's Miller time. Third pillar time. Oh my goodness, this one's funny. I'm laughing, scratching my neck, man. Something good is happening right now. All right, let's get into it. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I tried to keep it all to the nighttime. Wasn't able to fully. So let's do the nighttime stuff first for the people that hung around and all those awesome show listeners on their commute. Manny Machado over 1.5 total bases should not come as a surprise. The first time I think I've paid juice for a total base prop, but this is just lighting up every single board. I also wasn't able to find players that fit the single. I couldn't find guys that fit properly, so I didn't want to force it. I actually had Soto in there, and then the walk rate just killed me. 30% walk rates. It's insane. So even Machado for the 2 bases, I really liked Padres to cover it, but even though cover was minus 180, I just can't get there. So give me Manny Machado over 1.5 total bases. I wanted to cover, all right, yes, the F5 team totals. All right. So again, if you're unfamiliar, this has been the new thing. Hat tip to all the followers out there that highlighted it. Hat tip to the couple of sharks out there that brought it up to me, that have been using my model and all the free information we put out on Patreon. But don't worry, it's not Patreon, it's just free. It's the best place to get my work without having to listen to me. Right? It's a pretty good sale, right? But all kidding aside, all the images are there, all the links to the spreadsheets are there, and it's all together in order. I think that's very important. Twitter can become a bit of a river, and people, did you post this? Why did you post it? It's like, I did. It's just lost. It was a while ago. I don't, it is what it is. Patreon has really been a good platform for this. So I know people are using this stuff, applying it. I had people say, hey, you run an F5 model. That's pretty accurate. Why are we not looking at F5 team totals? Turns out books are struggling to price these because a lot of these should probably be at 2 runs, but they don't want us to push, which is why we were kicking books' asses for a couple of years straight because of the pushes in F5 betting. So until that, we're going to keep smashing them. I have Cubs and Pirates. Again, these have just... God, I hate when people do this, when they just kind of cite their own model. But that's been at the center of it. It really has. I'm not going to hide from that. Let's see if we could do it really quick. So this is the Cubs are an afternoon game. But don't fret because we do have a replacement. I mentioned it before. So I have the Cubs 2 against Watkins. Watkins has been good, but all the earned run indicators up above 4.5. K rate down below 15, right? So we know that can be an issue. And he has struggled at home which is strange because it is a pitcher's ballpark. But remember, that really would help a home run pitcher. But Watkins is susceptible to some hard hits and some line drives and the lower range of barrels. So don't always be ready to run because of the home runs. And meanwhile, the Cubs are actually hitting, right? So last 250 plate appearances, top 5 in home runs, top 5 in doubles, 340 WOBA, 117 WRC plus. They're putting the ball on the ground a touch, but 790 team OPS with this is pretty good with a nearly 9% walk rate. So they're kind of doing all the things we want to see. I just expect 2 runs. It's just weird. It's such a cop out, but that's what the model kind of picks up on, and that's really what models are supposed to do: are highlight things that we as people have biases against. But we've been running out Pittsburgh and Oakland, and we are smashing these. I think I have 5 on the record in a row, and behind the scenes we're at like 9 or 10 in the row. Remember, before I post anything in public, I'm backtesting. So I've been backtesting the last 30 days and making a ton of money, man. I'm actually going on vacation. I'm going to Disney World. I just booked it the other day. And right the day after we post this last show, we're going on the back of these F5 team totals. It's been ridiculous. So give me, right when we were hitting and doubling, hitting and doubling, hitting and doubling. It spun out of control. And then give me the Pirates, who stink. It's just so funny, man. Right, I'm pushing teams that are terrible. But it's really more about Winkowski just not been very good. 4.7 ERA, 1.5 WHIP. All the earned run indicators, north of 5. FIP north of 5. Expected ERA at 4.8. The classified run average at 5.44, a 5% K minus walk, 6% swing and strike, 27 O swing. That's just going to get you in trouble. 45 hard hit and 10% barrel, all the things we look for. Lefties have about 890 OPS against them on the season, so he just really hasn't been very good. He's been better at home than on the road, but I did really like this one, and I did want to push them out, although to be completely transparent, and this is the push for the people that are listening at night, don't be mad at me. By that point, we're hoping Patino gets listed and swap the Cubs for the Royals. And I'm telling you right now, if I'm rolling out Cubs and Pirates, because if I post it, I bet it, that. If the Cubs don't come through for us, we're going to pair the Pirates with the Royals. If Patino is starting. So I know I'm really trying to do everything for everybody. I know it can be really difficult. People, saying, oh man, you posted early bets, and all the games are early. There's only a couple games at night. And, you don't want to force bets. You want to bet up into strong probabilistic scenarios. So, all right, the very last thing, and then we'll do a quick recap. This is an early one, so I marked it as 2 p.m. on the graphic. Texas covering the run line, minus 1.5. I just have this one as a runaway, so we had to hit it. We know Dunning was lighting up the advanced leaderboard, so he's actually being one of the whiff leaders the last 30 days. Not something that you necessarily expect from Dunning, but he's been really, really good. He's very good at working around the edges. His foul ball rate, right, we mentioned a 20. His is down at 15. That is tremendous. That's going to be one of the lowest that you're going to find, and it's because he wins around the edges. He's very effective. He forces weak contact, right? It's far away enough to get the edge of the bat on, not too far away enough that you totally let it go. 54% ground ball. Love that 32 hard hit combined together. Love those 2 things. We know the Oakland offense, they kind of stink. I know you push them, but we pumped them for 2 runs. We're not betting team total over as much, stacking them. Oakland, we just know that they're a professional team, and giving up 2 runs through 5 is a human activity. It's just funny, getting a bit theoretical here, which means it's time to wrap this up. And we're up against the time anyway, man. The show's getting a little bit longer, but whatever. We're down to the last 11 shows. Hope you're all just really digging everything we've brought to you here. I'm sorry. Let me just recap that again really quick. So the bets for today, because I know it was a bit scrambled. Texas to cover the 1.5 run line. Plus 110, love that. Manny Machado, the macho man, covering up over 1.5 total bases, minus 120. Get that one early. That's going to move at least 30 cents by the time we get to nighttime. F5 team totals, I'm always looking at over 1.5, right? To need 2 runs through 5. These are on DraftKings, friend of the show. So play with them. Awesome interface there. We have Cubs plus Pirates. But I don't want to sound like a fraud. I had the Royals ranked second. The Royals are not listed because Tampa has not listed the starter yet. I believe it will be Patino, in which case we want Kansas City. But in the meantime, you roll out Cubs plus Pirates, F5 team total. Keep an eye on Kansas City as well, and that will do it. Oh my goodness. Download the Jock Market app. We'll see you in the JM streets today. I especially like when we highlight the pitch matchups because again, it's what it is. People chase recent stats. So you'll notice the high L14 OPSs, the high L7 OPSs are going to be naturally more expensive, and hitters that are cold won't be. So even a guy like Rizzo is probably going to be cheap because he's not hitting. But we have him in the spot we want him to. He's a very good hitter. I'm not worried about it. And unless he's hurt, right, we're going to roll him out there, providing the price. So there you go. That's everything you could ask for and a bag of chips. Rate, review, and subscribe to the audio-only pod. I'll be on VSiN tonight. I have a football article dropping right about now, running projections for tight ends against ECR. I have a MLB mailbag at The Athletic coming out tomorrow. Be on the lookout for all types of sharp stuff. And I have a cool guest on Saturday. We'll be doing another of the football show. Make sure you check out the new playlist there, The Mix on Mayo Media Net. And check out those football shows. They're very, very good. I had Meany on and Harditz on. And recently, Dalton Del Don, one of my favorite analysts, man, he's the best. We had such a great time. I did a best ball stream, but man, me lightning bolting through a best ball stream was just, I brought as much as all the smoke that I could. All right, now this is officially the longest show of the year. Enjoy your games, enjoy the day, and when we're done with the book, enjoy that pay, everybody. Man, I bring it because your time is precious, just like mine. So remember, when you work this hard, it feels a lot less like luck, man. You bet your bottom dollar on that one. And I catch you on the flip side, man. See you in the JM streets. Download that app. You want to say thanks. Peace.